Hello friends, let us now learn some important points about tricuspid stenosis. This tricuspid stenosis mostly it does not occur alone. Always it is associated with mitral stenosis always. Okay, so if you take the example here, this is the tricuspid stenosis, this is the stenosed tricuspid valve, and this is the stenosed mitral valve. So when the tricuspid valve and mitral valve is stenosed, stenosis is inability to open, difficulty in opening the valve during the contraction of this. So that means when the left atrium contracts, it is difficult for the mitral valve to open. So as a result, left atrium has to contract with higher pressure to open the mitral valve. So that is mitral stenosis. Similarly, the in the tricuspid valve is stenosed, the right atrium has to do more work and it should contract with higher pressure to open the stenosed tricuspid valve. So as a result, the blood flow from the right atrium to right ventricle decreased due to tricuspid stenosis, and the blood flow from left atrium to left ventricle is reduced due to mitral stenosis. Right, so this will result in increased blood present in the left atrium and also in the right atrium. So if it is in the left atrium, then this will cause the dilatation. First there is hypertrophy of the left atrium occurs because the left atrium has to contract with higher pressure to open the mitral valve. Similarly, in tricuspid stenosis, the right atrium has to contract with higher pressure to open the tricuspid valve. So you will see right atrial hypertrophy is seen. So this what actually happens is, first we will see the mitral from mitral point of view so that it becomes easier. So because there is mitral stenosis, the right atrium pushes harder. So right atrium works more to push the blood into the left atrium works more to push the blood in from left atrium to left ventricle, and as a result of this, the left atrium undergoes hypertrophy. Okay, and because of this hypertrophy of left atrium, there is increased blood in the left atrium, and slowly now even the hypertrophied left atrium cannot open the mitral stenosed because it becomes very severe. In such cases, there is back pressure to the lungs. Okay, it will exert pressure to lungs, and because it will exert pressure to lungs, and in the lungs it will cause pulmonary congestion first. Slowly this pulmonary congestion will progress to pulmonary hypertension, and there is still back pressure from the lungs to the right side of the heart. So because of this pulmonary hypertension, this will again exert back pressure to the right side of heart. This will result in right ventricular hypertrophy again because of back pressure to the see, why is there right ventricular hypertrophy? Because whenever there is pulmonary hypertension, now the right ventricle has to work hard to push the blood against this against the higher lung pressures. So as a result, there is right ventricular hypertrophy. So mitral defect will lead to right ventricular hypertrophy. But if you see, the left ventricle will be normal. Okay, in this situation, this is about the mitral stenosis. Right, now if you see the tricuspid stenosis, in the tricuspid stenosis, if you see the tricuspid stenosis, now the there is now the right atrium, it is difficult for the right atrium to pump the blood into the right ventricle. Right, it is difficult from the right atrium to pump the blood into the right ventricle. So there occurs now the right atrium has to work more, because the right atrium has to work more. It has to exert higher pressure to open the stenosed tricuspid valve, and as a result it causes right ventricular hypertrophy. This right ventricular hypertrophy, there is increased blood present in the right ventricle. Now this will cause back pressure to the superior vena cava, okay, and inferior vena cava. This is how the changes occur. But if there is mitral because as I have said, always and always mitral tricuspid stenosis is associated with mitral stenosis. So if tricuspid stenosis is present along with the mitral stenosis, this tricuspid stenosis will prevent the transmission of pressure in the backward direction. This pressure, see, right ventricle has undergone hypertrophy due to mitral stenosis. Because of this tricuspid stenosis, this right ventricular hypertrophy and this right ventricular pressure will not go into the right atrium. Right, there is right ventricular hypertrophy. Now this right ventricular hypertrophied, that means there is increased right ventricular pressure. Right, now because there is tricuspid stenosis here, the right ventricular pressure cannot be transmitted to the right atrium because of tricuspid stenosis. It acts as a barrier preventing the transmission of right ventricle pressure to right atrium. Okay, so this is important. So as a result, the pressure which is this back pressure which is occurring to superior vena cava and inferior vena cava is only due to tricuspid stenosis, and it is not the pressure with combined mitral stenosis. So this is the main pathogenesis which you should understand. So now if you see the treatment, first and foremost, if the patient, so before treatment, if you see the clinical features, in clinical features mostly the mitral stenotic features will be present, they will predominate. Initially there will be dyspnea or breathlessness is seen on exertion, and you will also see presence of pulmonary edema. There is orthopnea, that is dyspnea which is seen on lying down or in supine position. Okay, then you should do echocardiography to diagnose mitral regurgitation, mitral stenosis, but sometimes tricuspid stenosis may not be present. So these are mitral stenotic features. And one more thing, because now the pressure, right atrial hypertrophy, this will cause increased pressure, back pressure to the superior vena cava and inferior vena cava. So from the inferior vena cava, this pressure will transmit to the liver, causing hepatomegaly. So hepatomegaly is important clinical feature which is present in tricuspid stenosis. Okay. Right. Along with the hepatomegaly, because of increased pressure and increased blood in the inferior vena cava, there is increased blood in the peripheral veins, leading to pedal edema develops, and it also causes ascites also. So these are the main features which you see due to tricuspid stenosis. Right. Now on examination, you will see presence of large A wave. This large A wave is due to, in JVP, if you remember, the A wave is due to the contraction of the atria, right atrium, into the contraction of right atrium causes this A wave. But here, due to this tricuspid stenosis, the right atria has to contract with larger pressure to send the blood into the right ventricle, and as a result in JVP you will see large A wave, and you will see blunted Y descent. This blunted Y descent is actually, this Y descent is due to the filling of atria. filling of right ventricle, that is flow of blood from Y descent is due to the flow of blood from right atrium to right ventricle. But here, because of the stenosis, only a few small amount of blood goes from right atrium to right ventricle, so there is decreased filling, so there is blunted Y descent is seen. Okay, then you will see pulse, as I have said, there is already hepatomegaly, and if you try to palpate the liver, you will see pre-systolic pulsations of the liver. And if you see the murmur, see here, this tricuspid stenosis, that is flow of blood from right atria to right ventricle, occurs during the diastole, so the murmur will definitely be in the diastolic murmur. So if you see this, due to this narrow opening from right atrium to right ventricle, this will create the turbulence, thus resulting in mid-diastolic murmur. This mid-diastolic murmur, it is similar to mitral stenosis, right? Then this mid-diastolic murmur, it actually becomes louder on inspiration. When you hear it on inspiration, it becomes louder. So this is mid-diastolic murmur. Where is it heard? This is heard in the left lower sternal border. And where does it radiate? It radiates to the tricuspid area. This is very important. Obviously, because it is a tricuspid stenotic murmur, it radiates to the tricuspid area. And over the chest, it is actually best appreciated or best heard close to the xiphoid process. It is best heard close to xiphoid process. These are the main features which you see about the mid-diastolic murmur in tricuspid stenosis. One thing which I forgot to tell you, there is pre-systolic pulsation of liver in tricuspid stenosis. Even in tricuspid regurgitation, you will see presence of pulsations of the liver. But these pulsations of liver which you see in tricuspid regurgitation are actually systolic pulsations of liver are seen in tricuspid regurgitation. Now if you see the workup or investigations, first and foremost you should do ECG. In ECG you will see presence of P pulmonale is seen. What is this? How does this P pulmonale look like? This is peaked P wave, like this. This is peaked P wave. This peak of P wave, so this is large P wave, where the amplitude will be more than 2.5 centimeters in limb leads. And if you see the chest leads, in chest leads you will see that the P wave is more than 1.5 centimeters in chest leads. And you will also see presence of right axis deviation because of right atrial hypertrophy. So if you do a chest x-ray, in the chest x-ray you will see presence of enlarged right atrium and superior vena cava. They are enlarged and prominent. Then in order to confirm the diagnosis, we should do echocardiography, and in the echocardiography it is for confirmation, and so it is the investigation of choice. In this you will see that the valve orifice, if it is less than 1 centimeter, then it is 1 centimeter square, then it is severe tricuspid stenosis. Remember, severe tricuspid stenosis. What is severe mitral stenosis? Severe mitral stenosis is if the area is less than 1.5 centimeter square, then that is severe mitral stenosis. If it is less than 1 centimeter square, then that is severe tricuspid stenosis. And one more thing you will have to note in echocardiography is time taken for the blood to travel from right atrium to right ventricle. This will also be this will increase to more than 190 milliseconds. So these are the important things which you see on echocardiography. Now if you treat it, treatment is you will have to see salt restricted diet. You will have to ask the person to take salt restricted diet, give him diuretics, and in the diuretics you can give aldosterone antagonists are given to the patient, and also you will ask the patient to undergo valve repair, which is the main treatment. That is, valve repair is the main treatment. Here you can either put the prosthetic valve can be used, or metallic valve can be used, or prosthetic valve can be used. But there is one disadvantage for using this metallic valve, or metallic valve especially. In metallic valve we require the patient to give lifelong anticoagulant therapy. So these are the important points about the anticoagulant therapy. So these are the important points which we learn about the tricuspid stenosis. Thank you for watching.